Good morning. Let us start with the opening recitations. The opening recitations consist of four recitations. The first two pertains to bodhicitta. It's the aspiration and action bodhicitta are the first two. Then the third is taking refuge, and the fourth is generating the four immeasurables. In fact, if you look at these four carefully, even though they have different names, the recitation for aspiration bodhicitta, then for action bodhicitta, then to take refuge, and then to generate the four immeasurables. In some ways, you can understand that all four of these pertains to the single topic of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the mind, the awakening mind, in fact, bodhicitta has two aspects to that, sometimes called the two bodhicittas. Literally, they're called the two bodhicittas, but it's not like two separate things, but rather bodhicitta in its two aspects. The first level division of bodhicitta is into relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. There are different ways, different words used to express the difference between relative and absolute bodhicitta. One way that I like to use that I think may be easy to understand is that relative bodhicitta pertains to the state of mind. The mind, chitta means mind. The mind that seeks to achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings, not just a mind that seeks awakening, a mind that seeks Buddhahood, a mind that seeks freedom for only oneself, for only yourself, but for the sake of all mother sentient beings. So that is relative bodhicitta. Absolute bodhicitta is referring to the mind that realizes the ultimate nature. The mind that realizes ultimate nature. So that is also bodhi mind. In some ways, you could say that relative bodhicitta, if you want to sort of put it in English, is the awakening mind, and ultimate bodhicitta is the awakened mind. Another way of looking at these two bodhicittas is relative bodhicitta has love and compassion in the foreground and wisdom in the background. Whereas absolute bodhicitta has wisdom in the foreground and love and compassion in the background. In the end, love and compassion and wisdom are indivisible, inseparable. But on the path, since we are still limited, so to say, or the path is often spoken of in terms of a linear way. So then you know, in the linear sense, even in language, which is linear, you have to express things like, this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And so then love and compassion on the one hand, and wisdom on the other hand. Okay? But the state of Buddha is when these two are realized, these two sides are realized to be indivisible. Right now, we cultivate in such a way, we practice in such a way that one side is foregrounded and one side is in the background. So in relative bodhicitta, what is foregrounded is love and compassion. But what needs to be in the background in order to make it actually bodhicitta, and not just love and compassion. Just love and compassion is not yet bodhicitta. It's the love and compassion that drives us to want to achieve Buddhahood, to want to be free from the kleshas for the sake of others. That's what makes that bodhicitta. So this point is important to remember. It's not just a matter of semantics. It is to remember that unless we seek to be free from kleshas, the afflictive emotions, and the ultimate afflictive emotions of confusion, of ignorance, unless that is in the picture, then it is not yet the awakening. The quality of bodhi is not there yet. Likewise, in the ultimate bodhicitta, the realization of the emptiness of inherent existence, and in such areas, the realization of the nature of mind, if somehow those things were occurring without love and compassion being the reason, then we're also off mark. We're also not achieving what the Buddha was teaching us to achieve, to actualize. So we want to actualize these two aspects. So the opening recitations, is in fact about this topic of bodhicitta. So the first level division of bodhicitta is into relative and absolute. Then in the context of relative, there is what we call the aspiration aspect and the engagement aspect, which is the first two recitations. The aspiration and the engagement. So aspiration is to make the commitment to achieve the result of Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. Engagement is the commitment, the mind that commits to engaging in the 6 paramitas, engaging in overcoming in relinquishing the 10 non-virtues, engagement in practicing the myriad good actions for the sake of all beings. That's the action bodhicitta. Then in the refuge, the 4 lines that Atisha, Lord Atisha, composed, first 2 lines says, I will achieve Buddhahood. That I will, until I achieve enlightenment, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Then by the merit of generosity and the other good deeds, referring now to the 6 paramitas, generosity being the first one, the giving. By the power, by the merit of giving and the other activities, here referring to, His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, here is referring to the other 5 paramitas. So by the merit of generosity and the other good deeds, the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. So there again, bodhicitta is highlighted. Then the 4 immeasurables. What are the 4 immeasurable? Immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, immeasurable equanimity. What are these 4? These 4. They are not just the means to achieve Buddhahood, they are also the content of Buddhahood. So Buddha's essence, the essence of Buddhas are these 4 immeasurable minds. And these 4 immeasurable minds, they exist again, for the benefit of others. So once again, we come to bodhicitta. So these are the 4 opening recitations. Kyoba Jigden Sumgen says, while others consider the so-called higher practices, the higher teachings to be profound, I consider the foundational teachings to be truly profound. These are the foundational teachings. He says that all these higher teachings, in some ways, all these other higher teachings are given as different ways and means for us to actualize the truth that he has already taught in this foundational level. Yeah, so that's a very, I personally find to be a very helpful way to keep us grounded in understanding what are all these other higher teachings. Sometimes we get very carried away, chasing after higher teachings, chasing after higher methods, more profound methods, but frequently, because of how, we've got to be careful, because of how our current state of consumerism, the whole world is run around commerce. So always everyone is trying to sell us this, sell us that, I don't necessarily think that some evil power is at work. It's just our kleshas at work, So now it's to sell us this, to sell us that. So in selling, everyone is promising you, some of them really genuinely believing that what they're selling you is going to make you happy, to make you satisfied, to make you even enlightened. So whatever it is that people are selling, sometimes the seller and us, the potential buyers, get carried away by promises of how powerful, how effective this is going to change your life. So all this pertains to what the Buddha would call method. But as Gyoba Jigten Sumgön says, method without, of course, all the great masters, Buddhas, they all teach this, but particularly in the teachings of Gyoba Jigten Sumgön, he says, all these methods, what are they methods for? Right? They are methods for actualizing the basic truths that the Buddha taught. So the basic truth that the Buddha taught was already taught in the foundational teachings. They are not even preliminary. Preliminary suggests, there's something more amazing, more profound coming later. But they are not preliminary as much as they are foundational. And so these foundational teachings, and the main foundational teachings is the foundational teaching of bodhicitta. So let's now begin with the opening recitations and try to remember some of what I just shared. Page 1 of the, not the Buddha Shakyamuni meditation text, but first with the opening recitations text. All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time, tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Then, on page 5 or 6, depending on which version that you have, is the short refuge. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from their happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from their happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Now the Buddha Shakyamuni sadhana. So to briefly explain the structure of the Buddha Shakyamuni sadhana, I think in general, when we do any of these practices, having an overall understanding of the structure really helps. I've noticed, this is not necessarily how Tibetans, in particular, and maybe even Asians in general, that's not necessarily how they absorb or learn things. This way of needing to know kind of the overall picture is something that I noticed, like in the West. I was born and raised in Asia, and I've lived now more in the West than I have in Asia. And slowly getting some understanding, noticing like some of the differences. But of course, it's changing east west now because of technology. Everyone is influencing everyone, but generally speaking, I think for many of us here in the West, we find it very helpful. In fact, we even need it to have this kind of an overview of what it looks like. And in order for the different parts that we're going through to kind of come together to cohere better. So here, a few words about the structure of this practice. So the first part of this practice, the way His Holiness has composed this practice, the first part is to turn our attention to the virtues, the qualities of the objects of refuge. Basically, the objects of refuge are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha, the awakened one. Dharma, the teachings that he taught. First, the teachings that he taught. And he taught those teachings so that we will realize the truths that these teachings are pointing to. And so Dharma has both of those senses. The reality as it is, and the teachings that convey that. That is Dharma refuge. The third refuge is Sangha. And here you will notice this, the Sangha refuge here, we're not talking about the ordinary Sangha. Like here, we constitute one Sangha, at least temporarily. For this practice, during the duration of this, we constitute one Sangha in the ordinary sense of the simple meaning of the word Sangha is a community. And all the meaning, as I've pointed out in the past, is a guild, G-U-I-L-D, a guild, meaning like a club for craftsmen during the Buddha's time. Sangha has that more of that connotation. And there, I think to me, there it suggests that it's a community that has chosen to be together. Rather than, say, being born into this caste or that caste, being born into a particular neighborhood, a particular class in your society, there you don't choose, at least not in the way we think about choosing. It's still related to karma, right? Actions that you created in the past puts you here or there. But choosing in the sense of choosing to be or not to be part of something. So a Sangha, in the ordinary sense, it's a community, it's a guild, it's a professional club, so to say, that has come together, choose to be together. So that's the notion of Sangha in the ordinary sense. But Sangha as an object of refuge, as we will, when we recite this, you'll see, is referring to the noble Sangha. So these are not just ordinary Sangha, these are, first of all, of course, they are, but they're not ordinary Sangha, but they are the noble community. Meaning these are those individuals who have practiced the Dharma to such a degree, to such an extent, that at the very least, they have achieved, in the lesser vehicle context, they have achieved the level of stream enterer, which is first of the four fruits of the Arhat path, the stream enterer. And then in the Mahayana context, they have to be those who have arrived at the eighth bhumi. In these two, according to different systems, but the main point is then, I think for our purposes, no need to debate, what is the first stream enter, what is the eighth bhumi. There, I merely mentioned that to make the point that the Sangha is not just the ordinary Sangha, but the Sangha of those who have realized these teachings and therefore can serve as an object of refuge for us. So we begin by turning our attention to these qualities. Why are we turning our attention to these qualities? Because these are the qualities that we're striving for. These are the qualities whereby we should orientate our lives towards. for sure, when you look at those qualities, you say some of them seems more reachable than others. You're like, oh, I don't know about that quality. That seems, like all-knowing, right? Yes, of course, right now, it's hard to entertain the idea of being all-knowing. But even that all-knowing, the most basic meaning of all-knowing in the Buddhist context, when we say omniscient, when we say all-knowing, tamche gemba, right? In Tibetan, tamche gemba, knowing everything. But the most basic meaning of knowing everything, as in last night's class that we had in the Gundama the most basic meaning of all-knowing is knowing cause and effect. Knowing the principle of cause and effect. Knowing that everything happens, unfolds according to this principle, and nothing can subvert this basic principle of karmic causality. I think sometimes we get carried away. We think, oh, all-knowing, and then, guess what? Now you have smuggled, theistic notions of God into this picture. And you're relating to the Buddhists like, oh, they are all-knowing. Oh, just like Jesus is all-knowing. But it's not in that sense of all-knowing necessarily, but knowing cause and effect. So that's like one of these qualities. So these are the qualities that we're striving for. Then after that, it's coming into the presence of Buddha Shakyamuni. So it says in the space in front is Buddha Shakyamuni. So the form of Buddha Shakyamuni is described in some detail, but this is to give us this confidence. You have to feel that you're in the presence of Buddha Shakyamuni, and to relate to Buddha Shakyamuni as your root, as your basic guru, your basic guide. So to form a relationship with Buddha Shakyamuni, so that it's a close relationship, it's knowing that you can rely on Buddha Shakyamuni, his example, his omniscient mind, his immeasurable compassion, and relating to Buddha Shakyamuni and say, guide me to become like you. There, then we repeat mantras, the mantra of Buddha Shakyamuni. So Muni literally means the silent one. What has been silenced? All the kleshas have been silenced. No more noise from the kleshas. The Muni. And so the mantra Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Swaha. Muni Muni Mahamuni. So these three Om has three sounds. A U and this is the exalted body, speech, and mind of all Buddhas. Body, speech, and mind that has been cleared of all the stains and the afflictive emotions. The three dimensions of being: physical, verbal, mental, emotional. Then Om. Muni, the silent one, the one who has silence, who has achieved this silence. Then Muni again, Maha Munaye, the great Muni. Swaha. Swaha is like, may it be so, kind of like in the Christian, Jewish, Muslim use of the word Amin, Amen. It means, may it be so, may it be like this. So these three, right? Muni, Mahamuni, you can understand this to be talking about uh, the mm, the silencing, the attainment uh, of the uh, three mm, obscurations. The three obscurations, what are they? They are the emotional or the emotive obscurations, have been silenced. The second is the cognitive obscurations, has been silenced. And the third is the habitual obscurations, have been silenced. Sometimes this is just divided into two. Two obscurations being the emotive and the cognitive. So the emotive are the kleshas, the obscuration of the kleshas, the obscuration by the kleshas. Then the cognitive obscuration is the obscurations that prevent us from uh, knowing everything. And again, everything here is talking about cause and effect. The emotive obscurations, when they are present, then we don't see the truth of selflessness or the truth of emptiness. When the cognitive obscurations are there, we don't see the truth of cause and effect. So these are the two obscurations. Then sometimes when they say three obscurations, then they are talking about the habitual obscurations, which is related actually to the cognitive obscurations. And sometimes there are also the listing of the four obscurations. In that case, they talk about karmic obscurations. And there is emphasizing then like the impediments that turn up in our lives. So the gross, the more obvious road blockers. The obscurations, you can also think of them as the road blockers. They block your journey. Karmic obscurations, that's when it seems like even when you're trying your darnest best to go attend dharma, to do dharma practice, to meet up with fellow sangha members to practice, this happens, that happens, you lost your keys, you can't get to the center, you got stuck in traffic, this, that, or you got sick, all sorts of things that are undesirable happening, karmic obscurations. And they come, of course, from negative actions and the breaking of our vows. So those are the karmic obscurations. But here, Muni Mahamuna, you can think of it as having silenced the emotive obscurations, having silenced the cognitive obscurations, and having silenced the the habitual obscurations. So after the mantra recitation, then there is the making of now actually before the recitation of mantra, we do the 7 branch offering. So as part of that, then after that we offer praise to, and again praise, when here we're praising the qualities of the Buddha. Again, this is to bring into highlight, these are the types of actions that we want to actualize. So in the praise there is talking about the life, kind of the highlighting the great deeds of the Buddha in his life. He did this, he did this, he did this. And so this is again to help us turn our minds to the example of the Buddha so that we can be like the Buddha. Then the conclusion, the first part of the conclusion, is for the Buddha in front to turn into this light that dissolves into us, blessing our body, speech, and mind. Then, with confidence, that our nature and our Guru's nature, our Guru Buddha Shakyamuni's nature, and our nature is inseparable. Then, in that state, here the notes provided by His Holiness say, do the practice of mindfulness of breathing in and out. And to whatever degree of that practice that you know, you engage in that. Arising from that, we make aspiration prayers, which is the conclusion, dedication. So this is the overview. Reflecting the qualities of the three jewels, manifesting in the presence of Buddha Shakyamuni, doing the 7 branch puja, 7 branch offering, reciting the mantra, offering praises, mindfulness of breathing, aspiration, and dedication. These are the 7 parts. So, beginning with the first part, the 3 jewels, qualities of the 3 jewels, starting on page 5. In Sanskrit, Arya Buddha Anusmriti. In English, recollection of the noble Buddha. Homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In this way, the Bhagavan Buddha is the Tathagata, the full destroyer, the perfect and complete Buddha, the one who possesses awareness in the grounds, the Sugata, the knower of the worlds, the turner of the wheel that tames beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of all gods and men, the Buddha, the Bhagavan. Such Tathagatas are concordant with meritorious causes, their roots of virtues not wasted, and wearing the beauty of patience. They are treasure grounds of merits and are adorned with the minor marks. The flowers of the major marks have bloomed, and activities are precise and appropriate, nothing unpleasant upon seeing them, and they deeply admire those who devote faithfully. Their intelligence is unsurpassed, and they are indomitable in terms of their powers. They are teachers of all sentient beings, fathers of all bodhisattvas, kings of all noble beings, guides for those who travel to the city of Nirvana with unfathomable wisdom and inconceivable courage. They have absolutely pure speeches, pleasant melodies, enchanting faces, and incomparable bodies. They are unsullied by the desire realms, absolutely unsullied by the form realms, and untouched by the formless realms, completely free from the aggregates, free of the constituents, and with the sense fields restrained. Having completely cut the knots, they are totally free from the agonies, utterly free from craving. They have crossed over the rivers, and their wisdom is absolutely perfect. They abide within wisdom of the Bhagavan Buddhas of past, future, and present. They do not abide in nirvana, abide at the limits of perfect reality, and sit on the stage from where they look upon all sentient beings. These are the great qualities of the Tathagata's perfect wisdom. and of remembering the noble Buddha. In Sanskrit, Dharma Anusmriti; in English, recollection of the Dharma, homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The sublime Dharma is perfectly delivered. It is the practice of chastity. It is virtuous in the beginning, virtuous in the middle, and virtuous at the end. Perfect in meaning, perfect in words, uncorrupted, totally thorough, totally pure, and totally impeccable. It is the Vinaya Dharma, well taught by the Bhagavan Buddha. It is perfectly discovered, free from maladies, free from interruptions, well aimed, meaningful to behold, and to be seen by the wise individually on their own. It is the perfectly taught Vinaya Dharma which paves the way for complete awakening for the renunciates. It is free from inconsistency and endowed with consistency. It is endowed with the foundation, and the perpetual path has ceased in it. And of remembering the Dharma. In Sanskrit, Sangha Anusmriti; in English, recollection of the Sangha, homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The noble Sanghas are those who proceed with propriety, proceed with appropriacy, proceed with conformity, and proceed with honesty. They are worthy of offering prostrations and worthy of putting the palms together. They are great beings with complete mastery of the qualities who purify the gifts of offerings completely. They are worthy of generosity by all. And of remembering the Sangha. The qualities of Buddha are inconceivable. The sublime Dharma is likewise inconceivable. The noble Sangha is inconceivable. Then one has faith in the conceivable. Its ripening is also inconceivable. May I be born in the land of complete purity. With the next mantra, we cleanse and purify the space that we are in. Following that, then we cleanse, so to say, we purify in a more essential way, as in realizing the emptiness nature of all phenomena, of all experiences. Then from within that state, from within that recognition and meditation on emptiness, arises Guru Buddha Shakyamuni in the space in front of us. As I've suggested in the past, if you have a hard time relinquishing, letting go of your perception of the space that you are in right now, then maybe you can start this by thinking, with this you have been transported into a different realm, into the realm where Buddha Shakyamuni resides, which in some sutras says that it's in Vulture Peak in India. In Vulture Peak, this location where the Buddha taught gave many teachings in, but that right now in Vulture Peak, he is still teaching. So you can imagine maybe perhaps being transported to this place in India called Vulture's Peak, and you are listening, sitting in the presence of the Buddha. Om Bhadra Amrita Kundali Hana Hana Hong Pedum Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddho Hang. From the state of emptiness arises a wheel of protection. In the center of that is a throne that is held up by powerful men and lions. Upon that, on a seat made of lotus, Moon and sun is a mum syllable in golden color, which completely transforms into the teacher. Shakya Raja, who radiates golden rays like refined gold. He is ornamented with the 32 major marks and the 80 minor marks. His right hand is in the earth touching gesture, and the left is in the gesture of equipoise. He sits with his two legs in the Vajra posture, wearing the three Dharma robes in saffron color like the clouds at sunrise. He is as magnificent as 100,000 suns, and in the pores of his body there are the 1,002 Buddhas of the fortunate eons, who appear clearly yet without substance. And now think in the presence of Buddha, our Guru, our root Guru. We then make this next, so this is now the third part, making the offerings, specifically the 7 branches of offering. To each and every one of the lions among humans who move in the 3 times in the worlds of the 10 directions, I pay homage to them all with my body, speech, and mind. By the power of their aspirations to engage in the perfect conducts, all conquerors are vividly present in the direct vision of my mind, with bodies as numerous as atoms in the world. I bow completely to all conquerors on one atom, Buddhas as numerous as all atoms, each amidst a host of bodhisattvas, and I visualize that the expanse of all phenomena is completely filled with conquerors. In this way, through an infinite ocean of praise for you, vocalized in an ocean of myriad melodies, I shall tell of the qualities of you, conquerors, and praise all of you, Sugatas, superior flowers and superior garlands, musical instruments, ointments, and grand parasols, grand oil lamps, and superior incense. I offer them to you, conquerors, splendid costumes, and ambrosia scents, heaps of incense powder, as high as Mount Meru, and the most excellent of all marvelous arrays. I offer them to you, conquerors. Offerings that are unsurpassed and vast are also directed to all you conquerors through the power of faith and perfect conduct. I pray homage to you, conquerors, and make offerings, whatever non-virtues I have committed with my body, speech, and mind, influenced by attachment, anger, and ignorance. I confess each and every one. I rejoice in the merit of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, of solitary realizers, of hearers still in training, and those beyond, and all migratory beings, you who are lambs of the worlds of the 10 directions, who have attained the desireless state of Buddhahood through the stages of awakening. I beseech all you lords of beings to turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. With my palms put together, I pray. Those of you who intend to enter parinirvana, please stay for the happiness and well-being of all migratory beings for eons as numerous as atoms of the earth. The small amount of virtue that I have accumulated by paying homage, offering, confessing, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, I dedicate all of it for the sake of awakening. Now, the fourth part, the recitation of the mantra. Generated in front is Munindra, the Lord of the Dharma. Munindra here is like Lord of the Munis. In his heart is a mum syllable of golden color surrounded by a Muni mantra placed clockwise. From that rays of light radiate, make offerings to all conquerors and their children. Return and illuminate on all sentient beings in the six realms, thereby freeing them from their sufferings and purifying their karmic obscurations. Then the light rays dissolve into the mantra in the heart of the front generation. Once again, the rays of light radiate, allowing the blessings to penetrate my mind and purify the two obscurations and establishing me in the state of unsurpassed awakening. Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om Mune Mune Maha Munaya Swaha. 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 Om mani 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 om mani Om mani 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 Money, 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 so 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 money, money, money. Money, 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 so money, 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 so money, 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 so money, 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 so money, 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 so. At the time of your birth, chief of two-legged beings, you took 7 steps on this great earth and declared, I am the most excellent one in this world. I pay homage to you who even then were wise. You first descended from Tushita heaven and entered your mother's womb at Rajagriha, sage born in the garden of Lumbini. Bhagavan, God of gods, I pay homage to you. In the celestial mansion, you were served by 8 and 4 earthmates. In the city of Shakya, you enjoyed the pleasures of youth. In the land of Kapilavastu, you married Gopa, one without peer. In the 3 worlds, I pay homage to you. After the displays of sadness at the 4 entrances to the city, you shave off your hair in front of the stupa of absolute purity and practice asceticism on the banks of the Nairanjana river, one free from the defects of the 2 obscurations. I pay homage to you. You subdued a mad elephant in Rajagriha, and the monkeys in Vaishali offered you honey. Sage truly awakened at Magadha, one who illuminates with the light of insight and wisdom. I pay homage to you. You turned the wheel of Dharma at Varanasi, performed great miracles at Jetavana, and attained Parinirvana at Kushinagara. One whose heart is as profound as space, I pay homage to you. Thus is the Bhagavan, the Lord of the Dharma. By the virtue of this brief praise of your deeds, may the actions of all beings also become like your deeds, Sugata. Tathagata, may I and all beings become just like you, with a body, retinue, lifespan, and Buddha field, an excellent name like yours. By the power of praising and supplicating you, may sickness, evil spirits, poverty, and conflict be pacified wherever I and the rest live, and may you make the Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate. May teachers come to the world and the teaching shine like the rays of the sun. May holders of the teachings, disciples, discourses, and practice flourish. And may there be the auspiciousness of the teachings remaining here for a long time. Next is the conclusion. The dissolution of Buddha Shakyamuni, our root guru, into light. that light entering us through this point in between our eyebrows, whereby our body, speech, and mind become Buddha's body, speech, and mind, become Guru Shakyamuni's body, speech, and mind. Uh, And if you like, you can actually now visualize yourself as Buddha Shakyamuni, and holding that visualization, practice mindfulness of breathing in and out. This can be very helpful because we know Buddha Shakyamuni himself practiced mindfulness of breathing. So now you can imagine, feel yourself as Buddha Shakyamuni, and likewise practicing this mindfulness of breathing. Then making the aspirations and dedication prayers at the end. I pay homage to all the Buddhas. I pay homage to the Bodhisattva rishis who possesses divine eyes as well as to the hearers. I pay homage to Bodhicitta, which precludes all bad realms and shows the path to the higher realms, thereby guiding one to the state without aging and death. Whatever evil deeds I have done under the domination of my mind, I approach the Buddhas, I confess them all. I have accumulated a collection of merit through the three types of actions. Through the seed of omniscience I have, may I attain the inexhaustible awakening. In the pure lands of the ten directions, whatever offerings are made in which the enlightened Buddhas rejoice, I too rejoice in them. I confess all evil deeds and rejoice in all meritorious deeds. I pay homage to all Buddhas. May I attain the supreme wisdom. I request the Bodhisattvas dwelling on the 10th stage in all quarters of the 10 directions to awaken into supreme awakening. Having awakened into supreme awakening and defeated the Maras and their army, may you turn the wheel of Dharma for the welfare of all living beings through the sound of the great drum of Dharma. May sentient beings become liberated from their sufferings for limitless billions of eons. May you continue to give Dharma teachings. May the excellent ones among two-legged beings take care of me as I am sunk in the mud of desire, bound with the tightrope of existence and trapped by all kinds of fetters. You Buddhas do not despise those whose minds I make them impure. You have the heart of loving kindness for all sentient beings. May you free them from the ocean of existence. Following in the footsteps of the completely awakened Buddhas who are present, those of the past and those who are yet to come, may I engage in bodhisattva activities. Having completed the 6 perfections, may I liberate the sentient beings of the 6 realms. Having actualized the 6 super knowledges, may I achieve the unsurpassable awakening. May I realize the Dharma of emptiness, wherein there is no arising, no occurring, no nature, no abode, no mental cognition, and no entities like Buddha, the great Rishi. May I realize the Dharma wherein there is no sentient being, no life force, no person, no reviving, and no self. Without resorting to self-fixation and the things fixated upon as mine, may I have no stinginess and give gifts for the welfare of all sentient beings. As things do not exist as things, may my pleasures be spontaneously present. As all things fall apart, may I complete the perfection of generosity, unerring in the prescribed moral ethics. May I possess utterly pure moral ethics with morality devoid of conceit. May I complete the perfection of moral ethics. Just like the earth, water, fire, and or wind, may I not dwell in anger, and with patience free from anger. May I complete the perfection of patience through the effort of initiating effort. May I have perpetual joy without laziness, and with powerful body and mind, may I complete the perfection of effort. Through the illusion light equipoise, the brave progression equipoise, and the diamond light equipoise, may I complete the perfection of meditative concentration through the 3 doors of complete liberation, the sameness of the 3 times, and the actualization of the threefold knowledge may I complete the perfection of excellent wisdom. With words of praise from all the Buddhas, with brilliant light and blazing magnificence, and through my efforts to do as the Bodhisattvas do, may my aspirations be fulfilled. Through my having engaged in such activities, may my loving kindness become renowned, and may I thus complete the six perfections and abide fully at the culmination of the 10 stages. Changchu Sem Chu Rinpoche Ma Ge Ba Nam Ge Gyu Je Ge Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Bel Wan Shou. Okay, thank you for joining today. And if you can, then we shall meet again tomorrow for practice then. Bye bye, everyone.